I saw this in a movie about a bus that had to speed around the city, keeping its speed over 50. And if its speed dropped, it would explode. I think it was called
Cultcast. And it was a podcast, not a movie. Hey, welcome to Cultcast, the podcast brought to you by a reasonably unsuccessful indie band singer, Luke Cunningham. But we're going to change that. I'll be bringing you some news about the band, some opinions, and hopefully I'll be talking to some cool people while I'm doing this little mini-series. So, first things first, we've got some definite dates on our show. We are playing Upstairs in Whelan's on
June 20th.
It should be a lot of fun. We'll be doing some new material, bringing some new tunes, some new outfits, perhaps. We'll be kind of trying out some of the new tunes off the album, and that should be a lot of fun. The next few weeks we're going to be rehearsing, back to rehearsals, try out some new gear, and see if it all works. So, as I've been discussing over the last couple of podcasts, I guess, we've been pitching video ideas to Joseph Geiger, a very interesting videographer who lives in Hamburg, Germany. I think he's from LA. He certainly has a very American accent. But we've been pitching ideas to him, and I've been pitching a lot of ideas to him because he asked me just to keep coming out at him with different things so that we can get a real idea of what we do and we do not want to do. So what I've been doing is waking up every kind of morning and literally kind of type into him some of my most uninhibited ideas, and some of them are rather crap, pretty strange, and just not doable. Stuff like renting fancy cars and crashing them, and maybe going to Vietnam. I think the Chernobyl idea that I had was during one of those times in the morning. And then I wrote him an email saying we should see if we can work with some of the disgraced actors that have kind of lurking back in the shadows because all the crappy shit they've kind of been pushing, or stuff they've done, which in retrospect is not a very good idea, but it did start a great debate amongst the band about those characters. So we were kind of discussing, where's the cutoff point of who is allowed work anymore, who wouldn't be allowed at all, and what kind of things are just shouldn't be forgiven, I guess. Amongst all those actors who've been kind of, I guess, judged in the Twitter courts over the last year and a half or so. So we had kind of a hierarchy of famous people that we were all talking about, and Kevin Spacey was kind of at the top as one of the worst ones. I guess Michael Jackson would probably go ahead of him in terms of crimes committed. And the problem with that is that it's always very difficult because you're not privy to every single bit of information. It's really hard to have a succinct and definite opinion. I mean, you know roughly on what side you're kind of falling on, but I certainly don't have all the information about every case or what exactly happened. It's really hard for me to have a definite stinging opinion. And I guess some of the guys were more definite about those things, and they could have researched it a lot more than I did. Maybe they did, I haven't researched those things a lot. I've basically just looked at hashtags whenever it happens. But, I'm definitely not privy to all the information.
Look, Burns, this is a big problem. You just can't throw money at it and make it go away.
I mean, it's hard to have a definite opinion. I mean, I have a vague kind of, Kevin Spacey's a bit of a creep or whatever. Michael Jackson, same sort of deal. Obviously, creepy, fucked up weirdo. But also, I really enjoy Kevin Spacey movies, and I really like Michael Jackson's music. You know, so it's a kind of moral shit show. I think to kind of see when you see the outrage kind of that goes on social media, you know, so I think some of the comments would probably be fair, but a lot of them would be pretty extreme. And it seems that, I guess, in this hierarchy, some of these people probably do deserve pretty extreme treatment because they've done extremely bad things. So we have, you know, like we were talking about Michael Jackson, Kevin Spacey, those two in particular, for their what we would nearly are now deemed as crimes. You'd probably say, okay, yeah, well, they deserve to be kind of, I don't know, given some pretty harsh treatment by society. But even then, at what point do you kind of say, well, do these people ever deserve kind of forgiveness? Or are we always just going to be completely outraged? Are we always gonna just say that they're zero, or they're worse than nothing? Is that helpful for us as people to be kind of spouting that level of hatred? Is there anything that those? I mean, Michael Jackson's dead, but in terms of, you know, redemption or rehabilitation or things, surely someone who was remorseful, maybe at some point after being kind of punished and brought through the ringer a bit, could be.
Well, I have the feeling you'll be dropping the charges.
Could be, you know, brought back into society in a different way, you know, obviously with a record and all those things. But it just seems very very extreme and polarized, the way that a lot of those celebrities are treated. And I mean, I think a lot of them are treated, they're all treated in the same kind of way, no matter what they've done. So you could have, you know, some of them have committed kind of sex crimes. Others have kind of said things that maybe just are on the wrong side of the line, I guess. And in those cases, you know, it's the same kind of outrage, the same kind of hatred, the same fiery, steely determination to wreck something, to show your opinion that you fucking hate them. But in a lot of cases that aren't Kevin Spacey or Michael Jackson, it's difficult to say whether a person deserves that. I mean, if your granny, you know, you're out to dinner with your granny or whatever, and she kind of says something that's flippantly a bit homophobic, are you going to throw her under a fucking bus? Are you going to say, you know, fuck you, granny, you're a piece of shit, right there to her face, and like really kind of hashtag the shit out of her? Or would it be better to maybe have a nuanced kind of conversation with her? And, you know, you might not get anywhere with her. She might say, listen, I'm just going to be homophobic. But it's more likely that you're going to say, hey, you know, you can't say shit like that, you know, when we're out when we're out in public. And even if you do hold those views, just don't fucking say it. Don't say it outside. Say it to yourself, you know. If you do hold those views, just keep it to yourself. You're a sweet old lady in lots of other ways, but you know, the world's changed. Maybe you're not as much part of it anymore, so just keep that shit to yourself, and you know, do a bit of research, maybe, and you might not come to a satisfactory end in that interaction, and you rarely will with people who really want to think one way or the other. If they're going to think something, they're probably going to stick to it. But it's certainly maybe more helpful to you and to the people around, and you know, people are multi-dimensional things. They might have bad habits and still be good people. They might be bad people, have good habits. They might have good intentions with horrific outcomes. the whole spectrum of human interaction is a lot more grey than we make it out on Twitter, and I just don't think it's very helpful to the evolution, the thought evolution of our species, or to get over any of these problems. I think it just divides people more than anything.
I used to be with it, but then they changed what it was. Now what I'm with isn't it, and what's it seems weird and scary to me. It'll happen to you.
That's my kind of take on outrage culture, is that it's not helpful, and actually that it kind of mimics the right wing a lot, in how kind of steeped in hatred it is, how kind of vile it can get. And I never saw the left as anything like that. Growing up as a kid, I always thought that the left as a political movement was always the one that was kind of on the correct side of things, that always had grace and calm, and always had facts on its side. Like, it would never be a super emotional thing, even though at times it could get really emotional, but it always had facts and the right way on its side. And that's kind of in the new age era of social media and all that. It's kind of lost those aspects of itself, I guess, and that it's further away from being gracious, which is kind of sad. And I mean, hey, there's still a lot of gracious people out there, and there's a lot of ways to fight a cause.
Did you try to cross the line? Did you try to grow that spine? The trendy dreams that lead us, chalk and cheese and slim fit Jesus. Worried all the time about the gravity of life, the combinations loaded, throat is cut.
You've been listening to the Rambles of Luke Cunningham on Cultcast. Tickets for our show are in the links below, so check it out. Pre-sale tickets are gonna be cheaper than buying them at the door, so make sure you get yours. And we'll be announcing support on the night pretty soon. If you have any opinions about what you've heard, you can email us, cultcalledman@hotmail.co.uk, or you can tweet us or catch us on Instagram. It's all just Cult Called Man. Just put that into your little Twitter bars or whatever. Catch you guys next week.